This is the Investing Bros. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
What we really need to watch for is tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to be seeing here May 10th, Wednesday, inflation rate month over month, inflation rate year over year, and core inflation rate year over year. And I want to show you guys. Currently, we're sitting at 5%. The consensus is that it's going to come in neutral. It's forecasted to come in lower.
But that yellow box has been very, very significant. So watch that continue to play in. As we got closer to it on these shorter time frames, we've definitely seen a lot of the oversold flashes coming in here. You guys are seeing on the 4-hour chart, we did get our orange oversold plus green triangle box right here on the hourly chart. We're seeing the same thing, but I think I even believe there's a peak seeker that popped up here, which you guys know is a big deal on the chart prime oscillators. Amazing indicator that you guys can get with a link down below. If you guys have not gotten it yet and you've been watching us do this TA, I'm just gonna tell you guys, I love fundamental TA. I love doing the basics, but Chart Prime has taken the basics for me in TA and made my TA more lethal. I've been getting a lot of calls right. Not everything's perfectly right. I definitely still miss some calls, but I've been right a lot recently, and I got to give a large credit to Chart Prime. Another thing I'm seeing on right here, guys, while I'm looking at the hourly chart, because I don't know if I'm coming back down this one, another good sign that I'm always looking for, some of you guys know this, I talk about this frequently, is volume. And you're looking for, sometimes at reversals, you're looking for a high volume that tells you, hey, as we're starting to see a small candle match with this high volume, that means all of those sales, all of those people trying to get the price come down, it's coming to a close, and we're starting to mix it with a lot of buyers. Yes, this candle is still red. Yes, the volume is still red, but notice how small that candle is in comparison. If I can latch them up right there, notice how small that candle is in comparison. That was the sign, man, we're getting a lot of buy orders right here, and that's looking very good. Another thing I'm seeing on Bitcoin, and this is a line we did not have drawn. Of course, we have this flat yellow box. Let's go ahead and take our trend line right here and go to the bottom wick we have back on the 27th of March. And we just hit another bottom right there. And if we were to clone this line, I'm going to keep my eyes, guys, on a little bit of a rising trading channel we have developing. Yes, we broke price above it, but look how many resistance touches we have on this line, this parallel line of a trading channel. Do not be surprised if we see the price start to slowly climb back up. I would love to see the price get above this line once again, turn it into support. You can see we never really did that on the daily. We did kind of flirt with it a little bit, but it would be very strong to get above it, come back down, bounce, use it for support, and then continue to the upside. Keep your eye on 27,200 because that is the value area low here on the fixed range volume profile. Sure enough, that's exactly where we ended up bouncing. So we got a lot of things flashing. We got oscillators flashing this morning. We got support flashing this morning, both flat and ascending levels of support. A lot of things telling us, guys, as painful as yesterday was and as concerned as you might be, as long as we stay above this 27,000, as long as we stay above this yellow box, the bulls still have a good shot at pushing us up to the upside. Now, I will say, continue to watch down here at 26,500. If the price does get pushed down below that, I think there's a good chance that I think there's a good chance that for now the top is in. If we break below 26,500, more than likely we're at least dropping back down to 25,200 or even lower. I'm not predicting that's going to happen. I'm just saying, as every good analyst should, you should have your plan to the upside and you should have your plan to the downside. As long as we stay above 27, I'm still confident about a new high coming very soon. As long as we stay above 26.5, I'm very confident that we'll at least keep trading sideways. But if we do lose 26.5, it might be time to go ahead and throw in the towel and say, I was wrong. Bears are going to take over control again. We're going to have our summer of everything's all right before the real bull market starts later on this year. So one of the things that I'm extremely excited about with Cardano here is a candle flash. Now, you guys, maybe we don't talk about this very frequently. I think Piper talks about this pretty often. We just had a Morningstar flash. This is not a very common candle. You're not going to see this popping up all over the place. When you pair this, then again, with, like I said, with Bitcoin, we're getting a lot of flashes down here on our oscillator as well, saying support is in. Let's go down the hour chart. This might be where we get a perfect little peak seeker. No, maybe it's the daily chart. I don't know. I saw a peak seeker on one of these charts I was looking at. We do get our bullish divergence here after an oversold and a green triangle that didn't quite get the bottom perfectly. A bullish divergence came in. By the way, in case anyone is new here to Chart Prime, this bullish divergence means we don't just see it on the RSI or the MACD. We're seeing it on stochastics and several other oscillators. This is like the end-all, be-all oscillator that takes so many others into consideration. So when you see a flash on this chart for a divergence, Oh, that's a good call right there. What we do have here on the daily chart is a bounce just perfectly off the dynamic reactor. It's not just even the dynamic reactor. Let's go to something we talked about yesterday when we were doing Cardano TA. And I told you guys, keep an eye on 36 cents, because not only is that where the dynamic reactor is, but when we pull up, look at that right there. For example, guys, evening star, perfect call for the bears to reverse the downside. But I also talk about the 36 cents dynamic reactor and golden pocket. Look at that, guys. We bounced perfectly off the both of them. Didn't even turn the dynamic reactor red, even though our wick technically pokes a little bit through. This is another extremely strong level of support for Cardano. And this is another reason why I'm extremely bullish on this.
One, on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, we are still in right under the range of this dynamic reactor. That's what I'm going to want to see punch through and then made into support before I start getting super bullish on the markets right now. But we aren't going that far away from it. If you look, we're just kind of in the same range, and these are weekly candles. So I want to show that. And then also, if I'm looking here at the Gaussian channel on Bitcoin right now, I mean, we could really come back down and test this median line here, which is coming in at about 25,800. And that retest there, giving a nice bounce on that, would also be pre-bullishness to the bullishness of hitting back into the dynamic reactor again. Looking at Ethereum, guys, well, we had a nice dump yesterday. I told you guys that if we went down on Ethereum and broke out of the platinum pocket, I would be looking for that trend line and that dynamic reactor to be the support. Well, that's exactly what we did there. So you can see that the wick right here came down to the bottom of the dynamic reactor, giving it support, pulled right back up in, and guess where we are again, still inside the platinum pocket. So I've been following this thing for like 2 months, guys. It's played out very well. I'm looking at a 12-hour chart right now, and you can see every time it just keeps proven to be an amazing support range. So I am watching the volume right now, starting to get lower here, and we're starting to get a green candle. I'm suspecting that we may come down and touch this again sometime in the next 24 hours, maybe right before that data comes out that I told you guys about earlier. So that's what I'm watching for right now on Ethereum. I do want to point out here on the MACD, though, that the MACD histogram on the 12-hour still not getting flat on this histogram. Let me get this in the picture. There we go. Still not getting flat. We still have a little angling coming down here. It hasn't turned light pink yet like it typically does when it's starting to flip. So I do suspect that we're going to come back down and touch this today. Then this will start to come back up, get us back to our zero line sometime tomorrow morning, and then start to move back up. Also, the cloud on the oscillator is starting to get close here and tight, and we are at the bottom of it. We tend to move to the opposite direction once we get to the edge of the cloud. Like you can see it here, you can see it here, you can see it here. Once we get to the edge, we tend to start to move. So I'm thinking that today we're going to see this ribbon line start to come back up here, and watch when it hits a zero line. If we get that little bounce rejection that we do there sometimes, there's a bounce there, there was a rejection there where it started to come back up. If we get that, then we'll have to renegotiate with the charts at that point, because at that, or reassess the charts, because we can't negotiate with them. It's the data is what is given, and that's what we have to go with. So
crypto exchange Bitrex files for bankruptcy after SEC complaint. The Seattle-based Bitrex ceased operations in the United States after April 30th, and it said the bankruptcy filing would not impact Bitrex Global, which serves customers outside of the U.S. The company's non-U.S. operations are based in Liechtenstein, which I'm so glad it is, because I love saying that word. Bitrex's assets and liabilities were both between $500 million and $1 billion, according to the bankruptcy petition filed in Wilmington, Delaware court. So, although they're in Liechtenstein, they're filing there in the Delaware court. So, definitely not great news.
Wow, you made it to the end of the video. Great job. Now, if you want more content like this, whether it be TA on Bitcoin and Ethereum or altcoins, or you just want to stay up to date on the latest and greatest news in crypto, then stay tuned and tune in to our 9 a.m. live show every single weekday morning. It's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when you tune in live, use the keyword grip strength in the chat, and you'll get a special shout out from anyone who's paying attention to the chat. Love to see you there.